The day had begun like any other aboard the orbital station, hovering over the turquoise clouds of Kellira 9. Marcus had been awake before the artificial sun even rose, performing his usual checks on the hydroponic gardens and the station's life support modules. The hum of machinery and the faint scent of nutrient-rich soil made him feel at home. Humanity had built a delicate pocket in the stars, and he intended to see it thrive. By mid-morning, Marcus retreated to his personal quarters for a rare moment of relaxation. He had just activated the holographic interface to cue his favorite classical recordings when the unexpected happened. A sudden shimmer appeared near his bath chamber, a distortion of light, so sudden and precise it left the air vibrating for a brief moment. Before he could react, a figure materialized from the shimmer, standing elegantly at the edge of the water. She was humanoid, but undeniably alien. Her skin shimmered faintly like liquid silver, and her eyes were an unusual shade of violet, reflecting the soft glow of the bath lights. Marcus froze mid-step, one hand hovering in the air above the holographic controls. She tilted her head slightly, studying him with an intensity that was equal parts curiosity and amusement. "I hope I'm not interrupting," she said in perfect common, her voice melodic but carrying an undertone of authority. Marcus blinked, trying to ground himself. You teleported?" Her lips curled into a smirk. "Yes, I apologize for the intrusion. I found the transit point near the eastern docking bay and could not resist observing." Marcus ran a hand through his hair, suddenly aware that he was, quite literally, in a vulnerable state. The bath water had just reached the perfect warmth, and he had intended to enjoy 10 uninterrupted minutes of solitude. Now, a being clearly from another star system was looking him over, and not politely. I don't usually get visitors here." He stammered. Her smirk widened. "I can see that. Humans are. Fascinating. You arrange your life with precision, yet your curiosity often leads you into unpredictable situations." She stepped closer, but did not enter the water. The small distance between them still radiated an intensity Marcus could feel in his chest. "What do you want?" he asked cautiously. "Observation," she replied simply, glancing at the holographic panels, then back at him. "And perhaps conversation. I am known to linger when I find something or someone intriguing." Marcus swallowed, trying to steady his thoughts. Humanity had encountered alien life before, but nothing like this. Her presence was both unsettling and strangely compelling. He realized that her eyes weren't just studying him, they were cataloging everything. His expressions, the rhythm of his breathing, the subtle tension in his shoulders. "I suppose you could sit," he offered, gesturing to the edge of the bath. "If you're not going to mind the heat." She allowed herself a laugh, low and resonant, echoing softly against the chamber walls. "Very well. I shall comply with your human customs. For now." She seated herself gracefully, legs folded beneath her in a way that seemed almost weightless. The water steamed around them, and the soft hum of the station made the moment surreal. Marcus took a deep breath and finally sank into the bath himself, forcing his mind to focus on the here and now instead of the improbable circumstances. "You humans have an interesting relationship with water," she remarked. "It is curious that you find comfort in immersion, given your fragility." Marcus laughed, despite the tension. "I suppose it is a ritual. Warm water, a moment of quiet. It helps me think. Or forget, depending on the day." "Fascinating," she murmured, tilting her head. "And yet you were so prepared, so organized. You thrive on control, yet here you are, unexpectedly vulnerable." He shrugged, unsure why her words struck him so deeply. "I guess life has a way of balancing itself out, even for humans in space." She leaned back slightly, her gaze never leaving his face. "You are stronger than you know." Not in the obvious ways combat, endurance, but in spirit. The ability to maintain focus, to persevere. It is impressive. Marcus blinked, suddenly aware that this was no ordinary visitor. Her observations were precise, almost scientific, yet tinged with a kind of admiration. Humans often measured strength in physical terms, but she seemed to recognize the deeper qualities that define them. Are you a scout? An observer for your people? He asked. Something like that, she admitted. But my interests are personal. I study life forms across the stars, and when one catches my attention, I follow. That is how I found you. Marcus felt a mixture of pride and unease. It was one thing to be noticed. It was another entirely to be singled out by a being who could appear and disappear at will. Yet strangely, he did not feel threatened. Her presence carried a weight of authority, yes, but also a curiosity that was disarmingly human. Why stay? He asked. She smirked again, a subtle tilt of the head. Because your responses are unpredictable. Humans are. Delightful in their contradictions. I could leave, of course, but I find your company stimulating. They sat in silence for a moment, the bathwater reflecting the soft violet glow of her skin. Marcus realized that her presence, though alien, was strangely comforting. Perhaps it was the honesty in her gaze, or the way she observed without judgment. For the first time in a long while, he felt understood, if only by someone from a world far beyond his own. I suppose you could stay as long as you like, he said finally. I can handle the intrusion, as long as you don't drown me with your questions. Her laughter echoed again, melodic and light. I shall try to contain myself. As minutes turned into an hour, Marcus and the alien conversed. She asked questions about human culture, about the station's history, about the simple joys of a warm bath and a quiet day. In turn, Marcus found himself asking about her world, her species, and the technologies that allowed her to traverse the void with ease. Through it all, she remained attentive, observing not just his words but his emotions, the subtle expressions that humans often failed to conceal. Marcus began to understand that her smirk was not mockery, but fascination, a recognition of something rare. Do your people study others like this often? He asked cautiously. Rarely, she admitted. Most interactions are transactional or strategic. You, however, are different. There is a resilience in your kind that is intriguing. You survive in conditions most would deem impossible, yet you retain your curiosity and creativity. Marcus felt a warmth that had little to do with the bathwater. It was one thing to survive in the harshness of space. It was another to be seen, truly seen, by a being who existed on a level far beyond human comprehension. Then perhaps humans are worth more than I imagined, she said softly. And you? You are extraordinary. Marcus laughed nervously. Extraordinary feels like a lot of pressure. Unjust? Trying to get by. She tilted her head, considering him. Trying to get by is often where true strength is found. You persevere despite limitations, despite uncertainty. That is the mark of someone remarkable. The conversation drifted, covering everything from the mundane to the profound. She told stories of distant galaxies, of civilizations built on concepts humans could barely comprehend. Marcus shared his own experiences, grounded in a life of persistence and discovery. Time passed unnoticed, and the station outside continued its endless orbit. Eventually, she rose from the bath, the water streaming like liquid light around her. I must leave soon, she said, but I will return. There is much more to explore, and you are an essential part of my observations. Marcus nodded, a mixture of relief and anticipation swelling in him. I'll be here. With a subtle shimmer, she vanished, leaving only the warmth of the bathwater and the faint echo of her presence. Marcus leaned back, processing the surreal events. An alien had teleported into his bath, studied him, and left him changed. He realized that her visit had left him not just surprised, but inspired. Humanity had always faced the vast unknown with resilience, and now he had witnessed an example of curiosity and strength that transcended species. Over the following weeks, the station seemed different. Every creak of the hull, every flicker of the artificial sun felt charged with possibility. Marcus continued his work, tending the gardens, maintaining the life support systems, and recording his observations. Yet, in quiet moments, he found himself smiling, imagining the next unexpected visit, the next conversation that would challenge him and expand his understanding of the universe. And, true to her word, she returned. Each time she appeared, she observed, questioned, and lingered longer, until the boundaries between human and alien, observer and observed, began to blur. Marcus grew in confidence, not as a warrior or explorer, but as a human recognized for his ingenuity, resilience, and the subtle courage it took to persist in the stars. In the end, Marcus understood something profound. Humanity's strength was not in weapons or technology alone, but in its ability to adapt, to survive, and to inspire awe even in beings who had traveled the galaxies. The alien who had once teleported into his bath had shown him a mirror of that truth. The human spirit, small and fragile in the vastness of space, could still shine with a brilliance that demanded recognition. And so, in the quiet orbit of Calera 9, amidst the hum of machinery and the gentle warmth of a bath, Marcus found himself part of something larger than himself, something cosmic and enduring. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, but for the first time, he felt truly seen. And he knew that, no matter what hour,